The Kardashian star Mason Disick moved in with Scott Disick, leaving the home that Kourtney Kardashian shares with Travis Barker, and I believe that he'll regret that decision someday. While there's nothing wrong with living with a dad rather than a mom, Mason may miss his mother. They've gone through so much together, and Kourtney protected her son when Scott was out of control. No, Scott never hurt his child. Scott loves his children, but there were times when Scott wasn't emotionally present. He checked out, leaving the mother and son to go it alone. Scott was there, but not really there. In those times, it was Kourtney who communicated, who hugged, who really felt her son's feelings. There was a time when Kourtney didn't want Scott around Mason. She wanted him to work on himself away from the family. That was because she loved Mason more than she loved Scott, and she told Scott that. Welcome to my channel. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you remain updated on your favorite celebrities. On the surface, Scott may seem like the perfect father for a teenage son. Scott is a former party boy who might be a lot more lenient as Mason embraces life at the age of 14. However, the comforting nest that Kourtney created, where Mason was always loved and accepted, is a lot to lose. Yes, she has rules that Mason may not want to follow right now, but she is totally reliable. She's always there. Mason can always go back, but the bond's been broken. It's survivable, but things might be a little different. Kourtney will know that Mason is capable of leaving her. She may have thought he wasn't emotionally able to do that. Mason will know that he left his mom. With enough love, all of this can be overcome, but it will always be there. Scott has matured to an extent. He's not rudely stuffing money into waiters' mouths anymore. He's toned down his arrogant Patrick Bateman in American Psycho shtick. His Lord Disick act was amusing for a while, but doesn't really suit who he is now. Plus, SCCTT doesn't always seem super happy. He's rich, sure, but that doesn't seem to be enough for him. He's always had money. He doesn't know anything else. Scott is someone who has led a charmed life, but then again, he's been cursed by the worst luck. Yes, he's witty, good-looking, famous and wealthy. Scott is popular too. Even now, after he messed with Kourtney's mind over and over again, fans flock to his Instagram, showering him with praise. Many of them are female. Everything seems to fall into Scott's lap. On the other hand, he lost his parents and that was traumatic. Nothing can make up for that kind of loss. Even now, years later, Scott looks haunted. It's because he doesn't have his mother and father. He wasn't emotionally prepared to lose them when they passed away. Scott was just too young. Above, Scott looks for sympathy, posing alone in a boat, and adding the caption, "This is Scott, having it all but playing the victim." It's his Princess Diana phase, God rest her soul. His relationship with Kourtney tanked, but he cheated from day one. He's not like Diana, who was duped. Scott was the cheater. Now, he's showing off his solitude, evoking protectiveness in followers who probably just like him because they think he's hot. One fan, Miss Cherie, said Kourtney is married to someone else. They have a baby boy, Rocky. So, she's truly moved on. Scott misses her, but she gave him a million chances. Now, it's not about what he can offer to a woman. It's about what he can offer to Mason. Can the immature man who called the other woman my wife on his smartphone really help Mason through his teen years? He might be able to, but there's always the chance that Scott hasn't grown up enough to parent full-time without leaning on Kourtney. He's not used to being without her. Even when they were broken up, they were locked in a toxic dynamic. They weren't really apart. It's more like they were in combat. There was a connection, however, dysfunctional. Scott always hoped to end up with Kourtney and the kids. Now, all hope is gone. Since Kourtney has a connection with someone else, Scott must really parent alone. He's antagonized Travis, and Scott may have actually pulled Mason away from Kourtney. Scott must love having Mason as he probably feels like he's hurting Travis. He may feel like he's won, but life isn't that simple. If Mason isn't happy with him, no one has won anything. In fact, everyone has lost. Mason is what matters here. Is he smiling? Is he learning? Does he feel good about himself? These are the only questions that need to be answered. Hopefully, the sweet, bright and funny boy that both parents raised is doing well. If Mason has regrets, Kourtney will welcome him back to her home, no questions asked. She's his mother through thick and thin. Kourtney and Scott never exchanged wedding vows, but the vows that Kourtney silently made to each of her children are ones she'll never break. The Kardashian stars Scott and Kourtney don't belong together. They share a child who is going through changes. They need to do what's best for Mason, so he can be as happy as possible. If he finds more happiness with Scott, then Mason made the right decision. However, he may find that living with Scott doesn't solve all of his problems. It may actually create new ones. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and drop comments, and most importantly don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything.